Bye. Have a great time.
David Funkhauser? David Funkhauser?
Yes, David, this is Leighton. How are you?
I'm doing well, Leighton. How are you?
Good. I want to wait a couple minutes, see if we can get anybody else on the line.
Julia Kestner is here.
All right, it's got David and Julia. Still wait a couple minutes so we can get anybody else on the line. I'll put the call.
Leighton, is this being recorded?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Can we get a transcript of the recording when we're done?
Sure.
David, I'm recording on my end also.
Okay. Do you understand that, Leighton, that we're recording it as well?
Absolutely.
Before we get started, are you or the court being represented at this time?
I don't understand your question.
Are you being represented by a lawyer, a real lawyer?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute just for a couple minutes. I want to see if anybody else is up on the call.
Birds flying high.
So we're getting started. If anybody chimes in, we can find out who chimes in. First thing I want to go over is you guys, when you're writing a lawsuit or the stuff you guys are writing, do you actually understand the parts of speech and the stuff you write?
Yes, Leighton. I went to law school. I understand how to write and
okay, so
sentences.
Then you can explain when you write a lawsuit, can you explain why when you write it, you write it in such a manner that there's no facts written within the entire lawsuit? Are you familiar with that?
I'm familiar with your position on it, Leighton, that we don't know how to properly form a sentence or a sentence structure, but that's not what this case is about. And really all we're doing here is to try and have a meet and confer with you all about the lawsuit we filed, which you've now been served on, in the federal United States District Court for Arizona, which is a real court. Do you understand that?
No, I don't understand that, because what you do when you write the lawsuit and everything you've written since day one of law school is written in such a manner to create no facts whatsoever. You guys use adjectives, adverbs, verbs, and everything else but a fact. That's what you guys do. You write in such a manner to create no facts whatsoever. And then you go to a fiction court, the district court, and write the same stuff just with the same judges. And then you guys go online, poke around, see if you can find some opinions online that justify your opinion and try to make a fact out of it. So when you guys write something, I've already syntaxed it. Everything you've written to date has been 100% fraudulent. Mathematically, I can prove it. You guys got served from us just the same.
Well, okay, are you done?
Well, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing is that you guys write documents, but you don't know how to write a fact. That's amazing to me.
Leighton, what are you possibly basing that on? Where did you get your education? What are you basing this on? Because everything we've filed has been consistent with what our previous filings in court, including the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, which is an Article III court under the Constitution of the United States. That is a real court. Your court is not.
Well, that's your opinion of it. See, that's the thing is what you're doing, again, you're stating opinions. You don't know how to state a fact. And that's something you guys have never been trained to do. You think you're correct, and you think you're stating facts, but you say nothing but opinions, just like every single document you've ever written. And that's why I asked you guys to complete the charity project on the Advocacy for Consumer Rights. It's a real simple project. You simply write a 1 over every adverb, a 2 over a verb, and so forth and so on. And I haven't seen you guys complete that project. That would let me know that you guys actually know what a fact is. At this point in time, everything you've done, even when you file documents in the county, every time you file a document in the county, you do it in such a manner that the document contains nothing. It's just a bunch of opinions. So you guys are trying to go after us for putting a correct document. I filed a lawsuit against Flagstar for fraudulent grammar. They didn't do anything about it. They just ignored it. Therefore, we won by default. And therefore, I went and filed a correct judgment based on a correct lawsuit. That's exactly what happened.
Of course they ignored it, Leighton, because it's not a real thing. You sent us a bunch of weird stuff and that nobody follows, that you've never provided. Anybody besides you and the judge of your fictional court are the only ones that write like this, and you think you have a basis for a lawsuit, and you don't. And I'm telling you, and this is the reason for the lawsuit that we filed against you, you have issued a false judgment, and you have also issued a judgment or a writ that's been affected by Mr. Bullmiller's property. He called us the other day, was very sympathetic for getting our client into this, and he has now recorded a release of those same silly documents. He's still probably going to be on the hook for our attorney's fees and costs, and I've told him that. So even if we get this resolved with Mr. Bullmiller, that doesn't get us resolved with you and the alleged federal postal court. So that's the purpose of this conversation, is to decide whether we can come to some resolution here, or if we're going to have to litigate this matter in, again, a real court, the federal district court of the United States.
Can you identify the parts of speech in the words you just said?
No, I'm not, Leighton. Why would I do that? I know how to write. I went to 7 years of college. Did you go to 7 years of college?
I don't need to go to 7-year college to learn something you don't know how to write to begin with. Like I said, when you're speaking right now, every single word coming out of your mouth, there are no facts in anything you say. It's simply opinions. You're using adjectives and adverbs to modify every single word that normally would have been a fact, just like what you do in your writings.
Leighton, that's the challenge. Doing the same thing. We're having a conversation. What you're saying back to me is the exact same language. We are all speaking
but
English.
I can identify the parts of speech and the things I do. I can syntax everything you're saying. What right now, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the parts of speech. You can't even, in your own words, your own writings, anything you write, you can't identify a verb for a fact. You don't know an adjective. You don't know a pronoun. You just write. Whatever comes to your head, you write down, and you think it's factual because you put it on a piece of paper. When you say the house or the property, the becomes an adverb modifying property to become a verb. There's no such thing as a verb property. And this is what you guys do. You write lawsuits in such a way, and same with the deed of trust, it's written in such a manner to ensure anything that was going to be a fact is modified to now become a verb, an adjective, a pronoun, or other parts of speech, but certainly not a fact. And you and I can go back on all this all day long, but the proof is you don't know what you're writing. You think you do, but you really don't.
I'm sure we could go all day long, Leighton. Like the Federal Postal Service, which is a real thing, you guys apparently hold court on a Saturday. We do not. We're not working. I'm taking time out of my day and away from my family to call in to have this conversation with you, because the court will eventually require that we have what's called a meet and confer about our lawsuit. So that's what I'm trying to do. Are you willing to do what we've asked for in the complaint, which is to execute a recorded release of both the writ that you issued and the judgment for $10 million plus that you issued against our client? Are you willing to do that?
Are you willing to complete the charity project and prove you know the parts of speech and the words you're writing?
No, Leighton, I have other things to do. I have other clients, and I'm not even going to get – has anybody ever agreed with you besides the judge of your alleged court? Who has actually agreed with you? A third-party objective agreement on what you guys are doing.
It goes back to the point, are you willing to complete the charity project and write out the parts of speech in your own lawsuit even? Can you identify the parts of speech in your own lawsuit?
It's already set out. No, it's set out. The judge has not taken issue with our pleadings. He's going to take an issue, I think, with the answer you filed because it's not an answer. So he's either the judge is.
It was an answer. I sued you guys for fraudulent grammar. That's what happened. So you got 48 days to respond back to that.
You sent us something from your silly court that we're not going to respond to, and the judge's order yesterday said we don't have to do that. He wouldn't even get on but participate in this court because you've sued him as well. Isn't that correct? Judge Stephen Laban, a United States District Court you've also sued?
It's all in the law, so you guys can read it. Well, I don't know if you guys can actually read it because I don't like you guys can read a fact.
No, I can't read it because it's a bunch of gibberish crap, and I'm not going to take time to read it. I'm not going to take time to read something that doesn't make any sense, and nor is the court. And neither you've sued or tried to sue a United States District Court judge. I think that's going to have very bad ramifications for you, Leighton. So I would give it a second.
Again, you got opinions. So it goes back to the point. If you guys can complete the charity project, that proves to me you guys have some sort of idea what you're talking about. But at this point, it doesn't sound like you want to complete that or do anything in that matter when it comes to grammar. You assume you're going to be correct on everything, but it goes back to the point where you guys don't know what you're actually writing, and you've never known what you're writing. You just write whatever you feel like, and you think it becomes a fact because you put it on a piece of paper. So that goes down to it. It all goes down to grammar.
What charity? Why do you say it's a charity? What kind of charity are you running?
It's called
I'm
a charity
involved
project.
with charities, Leighton. Real charities, 501c3 organizations. Is that what you're talking about?
You guys have all the information. I already gave it to you, so you can, whether you took time to study or not, I don't know.
I did not, and like I said, I'm not going to. So
Okay.
It sounds like we're at an impasse here. You're not going to agree to do the items we requested in our lawsuit, and we're not going to do your quote-unquote charity project.
I'm not going to release, if Jeff Boomiller wants to record or release it, that's his own business. I'm not going to record or release it. The documents filed in the county are 100% correct. Mathematically, they're 100% correct. So if he wants to do that, that's on his own. He can do that. That's his choice. I'm not going to release a judgment. That's his choice.
He's already agreed to do that, and we're checking with the title company to see if that's effective. And if it is, we will probably resolve this with Mr. Bullner. But if it's not, and if they say we need something from you or the court, your fake court, we're going to come back, or we're going to get the court to compel that so we can record that as well, so that there's no longer
when you
a cloud
just said
of title.
fake court, what part of speech was court? Do you know what part of speech court was when you just said that?
A real court. Leighton.
A real court. What is real court? What part of speech is that? There's two words. What part of speech is it?
How is it any different than you just repeated it back to me? You're saying the exact same thing. We're having a
what
conversation.
I'm telling you right now is I understand what I'm talking about. I have to communicate in a language you understand, which is fiction, but I'm asking you, do you know what the words real court is? Can you identify, is it an adjective, a pronoun, a verb? What those two words are they? Do you know what they are?
I don't know, Leighton. It's
okay.
referring to an actual thing that exists, a court, a real court, the United States
real
District
court.
Court, which is a
when
court.
You say the word real
or
court,
Mojave County Court, also a real court. Your court is not a real court. It's a fake court, and it's a bunch of silliness, and you know it.
A fake court. So a fake court would be an adjective pronoun. Again, what you're doing is every single word. And again, I can talk to you in fiction because I'm trying to communicate with you, but that's a thing, kind of sort of a bypass, because you're not willing to admit to the fact that you don't know what you're actually talking about and certainly don't know what you're writing. Everything you write is in a manner to create no facts whatsoever. It's just opinions. And then what you guys do is you cite other cases. So you'll go to another judge, or you try to get other opinions of other judges and try to make them look like facts. You can have 100 opinions. They don't end up being anything other than just one more opinion. See that? And that's,
yes, they're legal opinions.
Legal
issued
opinion.
From real courts. It's legal.
You know what the word opinion means?
Our United States judicial system works.
You know what the word opinion means?
Here, do me a favor, Liam, because I'm not going to do this all day. Why don't you
you
talk in the way? Give me a sentence of how you think it. Tell me something in a sentence form of how you think it's structurally correct, just for my own application.
I wrote it all to you. So remember, you said you weren't going to look at that. So if you want to take the time to read it, it's all there. Mathematically, it's certified.
I'm asking you because you're asking me. I'm asking you questions, and you're asking what's between the and court. How would you phrase a sentence? I'm just curious.
Well, you do a 5, 6, 7 position loadial fact. It will be for the court. That's the only way you can arrive at a fact. When you say the court, the becomes an adverb, modifying court to now become a verb. You're making court to be. There's no such thing as a verb court. See, that's what happens when you write your lawsuits. When you write anything, you write it to create everything that would have been a fact. You guys modify it to be verbs, adjectives, pronouns, or everything else but a fact. And that's unfortunate, because you really do believe that you're correct, but you're not. And it's not fun to admit to it, and I get that's why you're not going to. But bottom line is, I know mathematically I'm correct on this stuff. And so when I write a lawsuit to you guys, when I write a lawsuit to Judge Stephen Logan, I'm writing it to be 100% correct, because the documents coming from you guys have been modified to such a fashion to ensure there's no facts whatsoever. And you guys continue to do this over and over and over, and you write anything you feel like and assume it's a fact. Just because other people recognize it doesn't mean it's a fact. It's still fraud. That's Title 18, Section 1001, and in Title 15, Section 1692E for false and misleading statements.
Okay, we're obviously going to have to agree to disagree on that, Leighton,
100%.
on who's right and who's wrong here. I'm humble enough to know that sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm not going to be wrong on this. We are going to. This is not going to end well for you. Again, if you can't maintain having Judge Logan in this case, I don't think that's going to work out well for you. And let me put you on notice. If you try and do anything with this lawsuit, quote unquote lawsuit against me, or worse, my associate Julia, who's on this, if you try and execute or record any writs or judgments there or here, that's not going to go well, because I'm going to move immediately to have those invalidated under 33420, which is a real statute in the state in which we live on, and I will get actual and statutory damages against you guys. And we will then send out the Mojave County Sheriff's Department, who's a real group and a real sheriff, to put a writ on everything you guys have out there, including your court, your eagle symbol, whatever we can, and we're going to sell it. And that's how it's going to end. So let me be clear. If you take any action to record any fraudulent documents against me or any member of my firm, that's going to go poorly for you. Do you understand that?
I can tell you this. I'm going to do exactly what's correct 100% of the time. I'm not going to be threatened by you in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to do it correct all the time. If you guys are going to continue on fraud, I'll continue being correct until it's fixed. Do you understand that?
I understand, Leighton.
Okay.
Did you hear me? Did you hear what I said? If you do any of this silliness, if you record anything here, we're going to pursue that to the ends of the earth on a real court. And the real courts are eventually going to take down you and your silly court. I think this is going to end badly for you. I think Judge Logan is going to send out marshals to take you, to arrest you, and to put your court, whatever you guys, your transient jurisdiction court, if it's in a van, some whatever crazy stuff you're doing out there, it's all going to end. So if you want to keep doing this and fictionalize it and have fun and games on Saturday afternoon with you and your judge and record things and tell everybody how wrong and silly they are, that's fine. But if you take the next step and you record something against us, that's going to be in poorly for you. That's all I want to say. I'm not going to spend any more time on the phone with you today. I'm not working today. I'm spending time with my family. Julia's got better things to do. So we're ending this conversation. We've tried to resolve this with you. We've tried to meet and confer on this, and you're not willing to agree to what we're asking you to do. So
yeah, I'm going to continue being correct. That's all.
Okay. You do that. Have a good day. Leighton, we'll talk to you. I'm sure we'll see you in court soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.